Good afternoon. Welcome to the Town of Barnstable Board of Health meeting for Tuesday, September 26th. Roll call, please. I'll do it since Sharon's out. Tom Lee? Paul?
Yeah.
Steve, and Dan.
Here.
Thank you. Yep. Sorry for the informality. Secretary Sharon is out, so we'll be winging it. Having a meeting with a meeting quorum. This meeting of the Barnstable Board of Health is being recorded, broadcast on Town of Barnstable Government Access Channel in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Is anyone else recording this meeting? Seeing none, we'll get to the order of the day. On the agenda first, we have a policy deadline to connect buildings to public sewer. We've received, through much work and diligence from Tom Lee, a draft policy. Members of the board, I'd ask that you take a look at this, review it. My intention is to put this on our October agenda for a vote by the board. So that'll give the public and members of the board 30 days to review, make any comments or questions, and write up any amendments or things that you would want to add or subtract to it at the October meeting. The other item would be the Board of Health policy, potentially for temporary holding tanks at locations where public sewer will be provided in the near future within 2 or 3 years. That's still kind of moving through the process of getting fully defined, so I don't have a date yet that we're going to put that on the agenda, but we are working on it. Sorry about that.
Chairman Norman?
Yes.
On the first item, the town attorney is reviewed the draft, and she asked me to contact Charlie McLaughlin. I contacted him. We're going to have a meeting, internal meeting next week to discuss the issue of determining what are the criteria for extensions, some ideas of perhaps based on, for example, if it's a financial hardship, what are the parameters? Is it what level, what income levels would be used to determine what extensions will be granted? So the legal department would like us to come up with guidelines so that it's not, there's nothing that would be arbitrary or capricious. There would be guidelines that we would come up with and use as part of granting extensions in the future.
Okay.
Because the sewer is very expensive, and we need to, the financial department of the town needs the funds to come in, so 6 months should be the strict deadline to connect to sewer when possible, as this draft suggests, and not grant extensions if possible.
Okay. Well, I think that's what we're trying to do now is we've got something we can chew on, and so I would anticipate any comments, staff, any departments, town departments that want to make comments or suggestions on it. Like I said, the goal is to vote on it next month, but if we're still kind of, waiting for some more opinions and stuff, we want to obviously, approach this with some forethought to it and make sure we draft something that's good policy.
Tom, who did you say you're having the meeting with?
Charlie McLaughlin, the assistant town attorney, the other assistant town attorney, Thomas, and we want to look at the county loan program also as part of this to see how many years the loan is for and what are the criteria to obtain a loan. We just want to make everything consistent as far as what the policies are going to be to grant extensions. And
Don't they have that for Stewart's Creek?
I should say if approved for grant, it may not be approved. Approval or not grant or not approval. We need to make up criteria for those moving forward.
Didn't they do that for the Stewart's Creek project?
No.
No,
They didn't.
no. The financing is a new one from the commissions. So that is part of the program that they want to tack into, so that the citizen has the option of go there to financing it. But one thing I just want to mention though, after the meeting, can you share your guys' thoughts so that we can take a look at this, whether we need to make any revisions at that?
Yes, oh, yes, and I even suggested to Attorney McLaughlin, if, for example, paragraph D1, if that should be removed. He felt there should be, he thought it was good that we have the ability for extension requests, but there needs to be criteria.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. And that moves us to the next item on the agenda. This was a proposed policy change, but the applicant withdrew just before the meeting, so we will be withdrawing that proposal, policy change. So that brings us to item number 3. This is a variance, septic, Dan Ojala, representing Down Cape Engineering, representing Chef J, LLC, owner of Villaggio Restaurante, 4631 Falmouth Road in Katuitt, map parcel 024-157. This is a 46,460 square foot parcel in stage 1, proposing to locate the pump chamber and leaching fields on a separate lot controlled by the same owner in a zone 2 permitted for 100 seats, requesting 150 seats, requesting variance from using a recirculation sand filter or alternative. Good afternoon, Mr. Ojala.
Good afternoon, Chairman Norman and members of the commission or the board. Dan Ojala from Down Cape Engineering. I'm a civil engineer and land surveyor and helping Chef Jay out, who is a longtime chef at the restaurant, but actually purchased the property about 1.5 years ago. And as part of that, they did put some monies aside to upgrade the septic system. It's kind of hanging in there right now, kind of chugging along, but I think most accounts say that it does definitely need the upgrade. He's bought an adjacent lot next door, which is, it's a nice piece of property. It's always been vacant. It's 52,700 square feet next door. We went to the zoning board recently. It's assessed as one property, but if you look, it's legally 2 properties, and it has the frontage and area, so they wouldn't have merged. He's got a small business loan for both properties listed individually, and it's so we can't just dissolve the lot line and make it one lot. That would get rid of one of the variances that we're requesting tonight. But and with the interest rates now, it's a financial hardship to go back and refinance. But the bottom line is he's got a, if you would be so nice as to grant it, I would be willing to put in this piece next door, which is almost 53,000 square foot, which doubles the size of the footprint where we're putting the septic flow into. This is in a zone 2 area, so you do have the 330 rule in effect, and when you multiply 330 times 5270 divided by 330 rule, which 330 per 43,560 times your 5270, you get about 399, say 400 gallons. It would be as of right next door. And so my thought would be, it appeal to your reason that Chef Jay could sell this and put a 400 gallon per day flow on there, pretty much as of right. You guys would allow that. Tom would sign off on the disposal works permit. So perhaps we could add that 400 gallons to the design flow. I don't know, honestly, where the 150 came from, but I guess let's just have a discussion about it. There is some correspondence in the health department file that Tom McKean had signed off on 100 seats on this restaurant. In the past, there was a lesser number, and then there were some bar seats and so on and so forth. One of the things that I did find that was very interesting in the file, and I can give you a copy if you'd like, Tom. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this was a 1988 variance number 51 of the regatta at Katuitt. This document, which is recorded at book 6385, page 282, says the building commissioner, fire department, board of health, which is you folks, and licensing authority have received permission to increase the seating capacity to 116. And I was unable to find much matching that anywhere else, but it certainly, it's a variance that was granted and called out 116 seats. There was some correspondence in the file, which I dug through from Baxter and I. Peter Sullivan back in the day had made a note that if we added another pit, we could increase our potential to 116. So that kind of checked out with that exact number. So I thought perhaps that where that came from. It seems to me that 1, 2, 3, 4, there's only 4 pits there. Oh, actually, let me see, 1, 2, there's 5 covers. One of them might be a D box or a pit, but in any event, if they had added a 5th pit, they could have had a 116. Nowadays, there is a strict restriction against just increasing flow willy-nilly. It has to be either grandfathered or meet current standards. In the background of all this is the fact that we're right on Route 28 where the sewer is going to be coming through. And so Chef Jay is thinking he's willing to put that system over there because he figures that the sewer is going to come by and kind of save the day sooner or later anyway. So he doesn't mind burdening that lot, which otherwise, as you can imagine, a building lot right on 28 that's over an acre would go for a good sum of money. If you put the septic on it, you can't put anything else on it, so it devalues it very seriously. So it's a big consideration for him, but he's willing to do it. But for that, I suppose if we could, since it's advertised for 150, if we could ask to have the 116 grandfathered and then just add on that 400 gallons of flow, and there's some tavern seating in there. It doesn't really matter to me exactly how we do the arithmetic, but if we had 116 and 20 tavern seats at 20 gallons per day, that's another 400 gallons. So that'd put us up to a 44, 60 gallon per day design flow, and that would give us 136 seats, which would be very nice. And one of the factors to look at here, this is a fine dining restaurant. There's only one meal a day. You come in at 4 o'clock, and that's it. And, as you know, or can, would think that where does nitrogen come from? What are we really concerned about? It comes from urine, from people, and the longer you're there, the more you produce. So housing, where you're there 8 hours a day or more, some people are there, almost 24 hours a day, you can develop quite a bit more nitrogen, ammonia, which converts into the nitrates. Here, I'd say most people evacuate before they go out on a nice fine dining dinner. And, you're just not going to get those kind of flows. I think I looked at the inspection report, it's about 800 gallons a day actual flow, nowhere near the 4,000 or so. And the other fact is that this restaurant, was a tavern since the 1800s. For a short period of time, it was an interior decorator, but then it went back to becoming a tavern many, many years ago. So it has seemed to have been here without much harm. The sewer is coming. So the relief, if you'd be so inclined, rather than 150, perhaps approve the 116 with additional 20 tavern seats for 136, if that's acceptable. Again, we're a good distance from the saltwater system to our south. We're on the main trunk line. It's in Sector 1 of the sewer expansion. The water usage is low, actual water usage for this fine dining restaurant. He's a good taxpayer. He's just trying to make a living in a very seasonal economy. Much of the year, there's very little use here, as you know. So I think big picture for nitrogen, it's perhaps not a big deal. And so as one of those factors, because sewer will be coming down the road, would hope not to put in what you call a recirculating sand filter equivalent technology. That's a denitrifying system that would be put in normally, especially for new construction in a zone or a nitrogen-sensitive area. And so we're hopeful to not do that here because, after some time, would have to basically just throw those components away. And, to the point earlier, it might be an excuse to not hook up as quickly or something like that. I would be very happy to connect within 6 months of that sewer being available all day long. We're sizing the grease trap. Again, the property was sold. There's some monies in escrow to cover the upgrade. So, we're happy to do it. We're going to put in a good-sized grease trap so that when the sewer does come by, we can go up to the, 136 or 150 gallon per day 150-seat grease trap, because the town sewer is very careful about the grease loading. As you guys know, you enforce that regulation. So we'll have a properly sized grease trap for a little bit bigger flow, and be happy to put that system back. The zoning board was nice enough to grant us a special permit to use this gravel area. It had been constructed without actual permission. Luckily, some of the lot was already over there and had been in use for a number of years, so they found their way to a special permit to allow that. None of the neighbors objected. Mr. Mycock, who's been a longtime resident next door, initially spoke for the restaurant use many, many years ago and was favorable to Jay when he was talking about parking there. We think it's a good use for the property. It's doubling the size of where we would be putting the leaching if we put it back onto just this lot and did something else there. So we think it's net a pretty good project, and would, of course, look forward to the sewer coming down the road when they do install. So that would be my presentation. Again, no RSF or equivalent technology. There's a technical variance for putting components on a separate lot. In my reading of the Title V, they define a facility as a lot or another lot in common ownership, so I would argue that that really would not be a variance, but we've always done that in Barnstable, according to Tom, so we did request that variance to put the components on a lot other than the primary lot. And again, we would just dissolve that line, except that, it's financed with two separate lots and would have to refinance, and that's a hardship where the rates have gone through the roof. But that's the request. I think it's pretty reasonable. The setback specifically of the SAS and pump chamber to the lot line, they're on a budding property held in common ownership. And then 310 CMR 15.4041C, especially for new construction, they like to see a recirculating sand filter equivalent technology. What that is purposefully does, it does a couple of things. It does take some of the nutrients out of the wastewater so that the leaching lasts a little longer. We are pressure dosing properly, by the way, so it'll be a big improvement over the pits that are there. But it also does knock the nitrogen down a bit. But again, I think that because the flow has been here for so long, it's acclimated to the area. There's it's a modest use in that it's only a sit-down, fine dining restaurant. It's not a 24/7 or even a type of restaurant which would have lunch and dinner. I think the nitrogen is treading pretty lightly on the footprint. Would certainly be glad to answer any questions if you have them, but that would be the request. And I would say that if you do find your way, the system right now is for 100 seats. If you find your way to add that few hundred gallons of flow to get to the 116, which is on listed in the special permit from the zoning board, which claims that the health department did sign off on, and then just the 400 gallons for the extra flow here, I would submit revised plans expanding these fields just a little bit to the left. And if I have to increase the tank size a smidge, I will. But that would be the request, and I'd be glad to entertain any questions you do have on the project.
Thank you for that rationale. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff?
I'm going to read the report from the health inspector. I don't know if Dan, you should have received this.
I don't think I did. I did get it. I'm sorry, but
The original septic system design was for 3 bedrooms and a 75-seat restaurant. Total septic flow was 3256. In 1987, Baxter and Nye Engineering Company determined the septic capacity for an increase in seating. They determined the 4 pits with a capacity of 3,256 gallons would be okay to handle 93 seats. The increase in seats was determined by the total flow originally permitted, including the 3 bedrooms. So they increased the seating to 93 at that time. In January 2020, they were denied the request to increase their seating to 146 seats and was restricted to 93 seats. I failed to mention, they're in the GP zone, they're in the estuary, saltwater estuary zone, and they're in the state zone 2. They're in 3 zones, nitrogen-sensitive zones. On January 6, 2020, we received a request to increase to 100 seats during COVID-19. That was based on removal of the 3 bedrooms. It was my understanding at the time. But then we later found out that the 3 bedrooms was removed previously. So there's some confusion between the 93 and the 100 seats that were approved based on the 3-bedroom removal from the building. But in any case, that's an issue. Would not recommend approval for any more than 100 seats in these 3 nitrogen-sensitive zones. The health inspector also submitted a list of problems with the plan. The plan needed to be revised to show the test holes, the EL on pump on and off alarm, the profile of the grease trap. Did you receive all this list of items that plans need to be revised?
No, I didn't get those, but we can, that sounds very straightforward.
Show the
We've got the
setback.
grease trap on the profile. I don't know what that comment was. Were they looking at the August 24th version?
Yes, the revised August 24th plan, yes.
Okay. All right.
Show
Yeah,
all
I
test
do
holes
notice
in
the
the-
float switch settings didn't get on there. I can certainly put them on. That's very straightforward.
The overdig needs to state the elevation and to which horizon. The final grade on the profile is at 56, but there's no proposed grade changes shown over the SAS. The grades shown to be up to 57, 58 on the northeast side of the field. Need to show the setback distance that's being requested for the SAS and the pump chamber. Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Sure, yeah, we can go over that with staff. There were 2 different sections with different elevations on them. It's a sloping site, and there's a requirement that the field not be more than 3 feet below grade, so we did a higher field and a lower field, and one pump goes to one and one pump goes to the other to ensure that they're dosed evenly and just split up the flows that way. But I can go over that with staff and get them those elevations. I hear you. They're definitely, it's about as muddy as a design flow as I've seen. I did see the 100 seats that was granted. And again, if another pit went in, it looks like it was 116 per that zoning board. And again, it's 6385282 right in the registry. But it says the Board of Health, Licensing Authority, everyone, fire, agreed to 116. At that time, it was the...
What time was that?
It was in 1987, so it would have been prior to the 95 code change, which would have restricted flow
That was prior to the saltwater estuary regulation.
as well. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and it does say 116. I'll hand out a copy of this just because it is definitely of interest. And again, this would kind of be a short-term variance because of the sewer.
You know, we got an email, well, I don't know, I should tell.
Thank you.
Again, the only supporting documentation I found on that was the Baxter and I that said if you put in another pit, you could get to the 116 seats. So I don't know if they snuck another pit in there. I didn't open the D box to check. There's 5 covers, but I do suspect one of them is the D box.
Clarify, when the building department and the other departments look at seating and standing for space, the regulations that we have, we only count the seating for the grease trap and for the septic, not the seating and standing. And that document talks about persons, not seats.
Dan, the design that's before us, though, how many restaurant seats does that support as designed right now?
So right now, the design is for 100, because that's what Tom's latest 2020 call-out was 100. I did not back out any tavern seating. There is a tavern bar area, and I think it could be successfully argued that those 30 or so seats would only generate 20 gallons per day per seat, sort of a fast food criteria for tavern seating. That would free up a few more spaces, but I didn't make that particular pitch on these plans. We just went with the straight 100 at 35, so it's a 3,500 gallon per day design flow. But again, I can show you the plans. We can put that under the parking lot over here and keep it on the one lot. So I would appeal to the board to say, look, we're picking up, the board or the town is picking up another 57,000 feet, which is being restricted. That's good for 400 gallons a day all day long. So wouldn't it be fair to add that to the 3,500? I don't know. It seemed to me it would be, especially where we've got sewer coming down the road to save the day in a few years anyway.
Are the existing pits being abandoned?
They will be, yeah. We'll
So
fill 'em
the
with
new
sand.
leaching is, I guess my question is, the new size of the leaching, how many seats does that support?
100 full-service seats.
And is that what you're looking for?
Well, if you'd be so nice, I mean, because someone put it in the application here, if we can increase that by 20 tavern seats, we'd appreciate it. Chef Jay would really appreciate it. And
'Cause-
what I would do is I would simply submit a revised plan showing
Right.
that, a modest expansion in the leaching like that.
The two things I'd like to see is, one is, if you're, amenable to it, and you seem to mention to it, is that if you waive any future rights for an extension hooking up to the sewer. So as soon as sewer is available, you'd hook up, pretty, within the 6-month requirement.
Yep.
You'd waive your right to a variance from that. Number two is that, based on this particular owner's use, I mean, I live near there, I drive by all the time, it's never occupied except at night. So I get the flow is basically probably much less than a typical design restaurant that might serve lunch and dinner, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Hearth and kettle
It's the
type,
same
yeah.
criteria because it's a restaurant, but then there's actual flow, and then there's, proposed flow, things like that. So I would say that as long as they're comfortable with, for me personally, that the variance would be to the, to the owner, not to the property, so that if the owner, a year from now decides, owning a business is no fun, I want to sell, the new owner doesn't come in and then change to 3 meals a day or 2 meals a day, because I'm more, for me personally, looking for those two things. One is that, like I stated, as soon as sewer is hooked up, you would hook up, and two, that the use would stay the same.
If I
One-
could propose a condition then that if the use changes from a fine dining restaurant with dinner only, the permit shall revert to 100 gallons per day or 100 seats only.
Right.
Would be very comfortable with that,
Okay.
and that would protect you.
Those are the only two questions I have. Members of the board, the comments, questions?
Well, I question the two lots. I mean, the town, and even one of the sheets that Dan gave us shows it as one lot. And the town, I mean, if two undersized lots, zoning changes, and two can become one, and so if it's one lot, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's gonna be the same as,
If it's the same owner, it becomes merged lots. So
Well-
they probably have one lot in an LLC, separate name than the restaurant name.
and
but I
Don't
think-
even,
my other question is, with all the things that Mr. McKean said, it would seem to me that this would be a good one to continue for a month and get a real substantial plan with everything on it. Not maybe this much or maybe that much. Or
Well, it was just a profile in the,
5.
it was a profile, right, of the pump chamber?
I think it was just a couple of float switch settings. We forgot to put them right there. But, oh, actually, no, the float switch settings are there, Tom. They're on the left. I wonder how he missed that. Probably the same way I just missed it.
I mean, I've been in this restaurant many times, several times, and it's a wonderful place.
All right, so to the zoning and the merger, what I will represent to you folks is that there's absolutely unequivocally grandfathered 2 separate lots here. And the reason for that is the plan of land they're over an acre lot, and they have the adequate, over 150 feet of frontage. And because of that, that one has 170 feet of frontage, one has 197 feet of frontage. And there's a special rule, when the 2-acre zoning went through on the western part of town, it was in the year 2000, and there was a special clause that said any lot that existed as of the date of this 2000 change, which had an acre of met current zoning, shall be buildable forever. It's a very permanent clause, and it's right in there if you look. Any good land use attorney will show you that.
And
So
why does the town consider it one lot?
convenience, right? So there's no reason except that the assessor doesn't bother to assess them separately. He sees they're in common ownership for 20 years, he just sends them one tax bill. It's just a matter of convenience. It has no legal meaning whatsoever. We represented the plans to the zoning board. They looked at it. I actually prepared a perimeter plan merging the two together, but when, and here's the two lots right here. It's recorded as Plan Book 278, page 18, and you can see the restaurant is on lot number 2, and there's the 52,870, well, whatever the change is, lot number 1 right there next to it. And then there's a big lot, which is actually for sale now, about 5.8 acres off to the east. But these two lots, this was done in 73, long before the year 2000 came through, when they did the 2-acre overlay on the western part of town. And any lots which existed at that date and were conforming, which this one absolutely was, it's an approval not required plan, are grandfathered forever. So it's just a matter of convenience. The assessor was just tired of assessing them separately and put the tax bill into one name, and that's the only reason that they wouldn't be. I guarantee you we could pull a building permit on this tomorrow for 399-gallon flow.
The other one thing that I had was that oh, never mind, I'll wait for that.
Dan?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. I think it's a half an hour's worth of information there, and I have to admit, I'm confused. I don't actually know what the current septic is, what the current seating is, what what we're asking to move towards, and what the exact variance is. Maybe I could just ask a couple questions. What's the current seating at the restaurant?
So he's legally permitted to have 100 seats. Are some of those outside, Tom? Yeah, that was the grand total.
100, and that
Yeah,
includes
no
the
more than-
tavern seating?
Yeah, that's the total. You can't have, I understand he may have put more in there, but he can't have any
Okay,
more than
so
100 seats.
It's 100, including the tavern seating. You want to go to 116, including the tavern seating?
Well, with 136.
36.
Yeah, 116 plus 20, yeah,
So we want to go from 100 to 136.
yes.
Okay, and we don't want to put in the recommended, we want a variance from what's recommended for the septic system.
From one
We're
aspect
going to
of
have
it,
sewer within 10 years, but we want to put in a system that's better than the current one?
it's a lot
Is
better
that
than,
kind of what we're saying here?
yes.
To
Bigger
summarize?
grease trap, dual compartment tank, pressure dose, set leaching, which spreads the effluent out.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
sometimes you're worried about groundwater separation. You can see the ground goes down to 30 over here, and our system is up at, 54, so there's a tremendous distance down to the groundwater. It would be happy to come back in a month. There is an installer that's hoping to put the system in, but, we don't want to rush anybody, but, yeah, those are the variances. To be clear, the recirculating sand filter equivalent technology would
Yes.
generally use a microfast unit with a big blower.
Okay.
And, those are great, but they do use some electricity, and, there's some environmental knocks to them too. And for the amount of time before the sewer comes in, we're kind of questioning whether it would make sense to spend that extra, pick a number, 40,000.
I should say the variance request form doesn't include any of the variances that he's asking for now.
Whoa,
He's
whoa,
asking
whoa.
for more seats. That's,
Oh,
it's not requested on his form. The variance, it requires variances from the saltwater estuary regulation, Title V. Just, and I don't think you can ask the town GP district. There's no variance provision in the town 330 regulation, but those three regulations are still in effect that you're asking for variances from.
Yeah, to be clear, what we put on our plan was to put the leaching on the other side, so pump chamber and leaching on a different lot, and the no RSF or equivalent technology. For whatever reason, the advertisement went out when asking for additional seats, so I thought we ought to perhaps broach that. We could certainly re-advertise if the board is considering that. That was on the agenda. I honestly don't know quite how it got in there unless Chef Jay called up and said, hey, can you add that? But he certainly, he would love to have a few more seats, and I think it has some very unique characteristics here with the sewer coming, with adding a whole nother 53,000 square foot lot. Again, we wouldn't, again, it would be my position that the 116 has a good chance of being grandfathered based on the variance. So we'd be looking for 20 tavern seats of 400 gallons. That's on a lot that can sustain the 400 gallons. So I thought that not unreasonable. I wouldn't ask for 150 seats because I don't think that is reasonable. But if you'd like, we could re-advertise and come back next month with that request in writing. And I would give you a revised plan showing that. If I've got 4 members that think there's no way I'm going to get that, I won't waste your time, but Chef Jay sure would appreciate it.
Tom
Again,
Lee has a
Lee
few
has-
questions. Go ahead, Tom.
Sure.
I spent yesterday looking at this stuff, and then what am I looking at? And then this morning, I spent a few hours looking at this. I understand there is an aggregate calculations for having the system on the other lot and all that stuff. I went through all that calculation stuff, went through that stuff. So flow-wise, I have my questions. It's like now you're talking about 100 to 136 or 100, it's like you keep throwing numbers out, and I'm a number guy, and I need to look at the plan and the numbers. I
Yeah.
cannot just say, yeah, willy-nilly, we approve this. No,
Correct.
I'm not going to do that.
Correct.
With the Zone 2, I would rather protect the groundwater. I would be looking for the IA systems. When you said about stage 1, I live in Marston's Mill. My house is in phase 2 of the CWMP. Contour is probably phase 3, maybe 20 to 30 years out.
Yeah,
I don't know where the 10 years comes from.
I don't know that I threw out a number. I did check with Griffin on that. He's guessing would probably be in the middle of phase 2, which would put it 12-ish years out, but it is an estimate. He hasn't got a firm date on it.
From the email that I got from Tom, from Griffin, that date is not certain. Nothing is certain.
Correct.
But I'm looking at from the CWMP Contour is phase 3, if I remember right.
Yeah, it fooled me a little bit, because when I saw stage 1, I thought, well, yeah, wonderful, are they breaking ground next week? But, it's unfortunate that it's not quite that close.
Yeah.
But we are, it's fair enough, but, if it's 12 years, again, the restaurant's been there since the late 1700s, I believe.
I know, with all due respect, Dan, all the buildings that have been here since that time, with the septics that they've had since that time, is why we have the problems that we have now. So, but maybe, I don't know, with a better system, can he do 150 seats? With that, I don't know if that's possible. So,
With current regulations, probably not, I think you'd have to
Well, I think
bend
that's
the
where we're at,
rules.
is that there's some confusion, this is dated Thursday at 3:30 in the afternoon, the requested changes for you for the plan. I think, like Paul said, maybe the thing to do is to take into consideration these notes from the town health department, make those changes to the plan, get a definitive number before us of, we want 136 seats, we want 120 seats, whatever it is, and then figure out what you have to ask for a variance. If he's currently under current grandfathered 100 seats and you want to go to 126, for me personally, show me that the change is necessary and the change is figured into your calculations. You've heard Tom Lee's input, you heard some others, but I think there's still some stuff that just needs to be kind of cleaned up on this plan and come back at us with properly worded numbers, because like Tom said, it's like, 150 in one note I'm reading here, and then 100, I'm like, what are we approving here?
Believe me,
So-
I spent more time than Tom did, and I'm
yeah,
still unclear.
Oh, no
but-
doubt, no doubt. But I think that's where I'm at is that I think with your, indulgence, we'd continue this for 30 days to our October meeting, make these changes, go through the board, the health department's list of stuff, make sure all of this is checked off, and that they're on board with the actual presentation of the plan. And then, if you have, more time, do your due diligence and dig up any more information on exactly how many seats are current and how much more you want and how your new system is going to take that into effect and why we should. Sound good?
Yeah, it does sound good.
I mean, I know you want to,
In order to get a little direction, though, if I could just kind of preview of coming attractions, if instead of the 100, where I handed out that variance that says 116, I mean, sewer's coming. It may not be tomorrow, but it's coming. If we do the 16 and then only add the 400 gallons of design flow to that, and put an IA system in, so that it's a modest increase, but then you're knocking the nitrogen way down until the sewer gets here. Is that something that could be looked at favorably, to have the RSF only go up 400 gallons, which is, again, the flow that's grandfathered here in that vacant lot? Would that be reasonable? I mean,
To me, if you put in the IA systems and, that would be reasonable to be considered.
all right, so that's a worthwhile exercise then.
Just-
I think to get
Zone
to the 136 seats, we'd want to see an IA.
Yeah.
If you want to just leave it at 100 and just upgrade the system and, stay where you're at, that's obviously their right too. So have them weigh those factors with your client and come back at us 30 days with a definitive number. We're looking for these exact amount of seats, we're looking for this amount of calculation, and we put an IA in, and aren't we great? And then we'll, then, like I said, my criteria of immediately hooking up to sewer, I'd be willing to waive that if you've got it, if they've invested the money into an AI system, I would say, okay, then you have the right to appeal for an extension to hooking up to sewer like everyone else would have, the same rights that we're gonna create. If the owner's willing to, go through the expense of putting in a alternative system.
Fair enough. But my gut is, if the sewer came by, I would probably just connect because it's less headaches. But
No doubt,
for
no
a big
doubt.
commercial
But just
property.
put
But
that out there.
we appreciate
Any
that.
other comments, board members?
Of course, we got that email from Griffin this morning about the sewer. And that was at least 10, but that could easily turn into 20 the way they're doing, cutting up stuff. But I think Dan's thing, could put an IA system, and what you guys have said, I think is.
Okay, then I would,
This is a great, believe me, it's a great place. So it's.
yeah, no, I don't think anyone's,
It's an asset.
We're
to
not,
the town.
Yeah.
we are in agreement. I mean, the restaurant is nice. I have seen that, I pass that every day. I'm gonna go to work, I'll go home, but it's nice.
I
But we
can
still
tell
have
you
to
what to
consider,
order, too.
yeah, but we still have to consider the environmental effects to the groundwater.
right, exactly. So I would entertain a motion to continue this to our October meeting.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's a unanimous, Tom. Thank you so much, Mr. Ojala.
Appreciate your
We'll see
time
you
and
in a
careful
month.
consideration very much. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, Lawrence and Ellen Skult, owners of 27 Nyes Point Way, Centerville, map parcel 233-020. This is a .20 acre parcel, requesting a setback variance of 18 feet from private well to the tight tank from state and local codes due to limited lot size.
You can stand here if you want.
He'll be out of your way in a second if you like. If you prefer sitting, standing either way is fine. Just make sure the bright light is on. Push it.
There we go.
There you go. Thank you
Is
so
that
much.
working? Okay. Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Larry Skult. Along with my wife, Ellen, we're the owners of 27 Nyes Point Way in Centerville. As was stated, it is a very small lot, about 12,000 square feet. It's surrounded by three sides by bordering vegetated wetlands, and on the fourth side by Burst Pond. The property does have a tight tank, which was approved by this board several years ago. We have a current well, which is in the crawl space under the house, and that is approximately 18 feet from the edge of the tight tank. Last year, we put in a new filtration system because the water was tasting a little bit odd. The filtration system worked for about a year and then wasn't working as well. We had it tested, and we were told that the well is not generating enough pressure for the filtration system to be working properly, so we needed a new well. We hired Desmond Well Company. They came out to the site, looked around, and found a couple locations where they could put the well. Unfortunately, one location, the well truck, the digging rig would need to drive over the tight tank, which we did not want to do. The other location which they found is on the side of the house. It's about 20 feet from the edge of the tight tank, so it's slightly better than where the existing well is now. So we are here requesting a variance based on the local code. The well is supposed to be or required to be 100 feet from the septic tank. And the local code, the state's Title V, it's 50 feet. And so we are 20 feet. We're within, obviously, within those requirements. But given the topography of the site, the size of the site, there really isn't any place else that we can put the well. And so we ask for your indulgence to grant a variance from those two provisions so we can get in the new well and have that working with the filtration system. Similar to the prior matter, we are scheduled to have sewers. We're in phase 2, and we're very eager for them to come in, and we will be connecting as soon as we can. Happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you so much for that. This is a public hearing. If there's any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff?
Good afternoon. I understand the existing well is only about 15 feet to the tight tank, correct? To the holding tank?
I would say it's about 18 feet. The plan that we submitted shows that the well, the tight tank to the end of the house is about 10 feet, and then it's based on the plan, it's about 5 feet, or about, 8 feet further in.
Yeah, I mean, our only recommendation, John, is that Chairman Norman, that's they maximize the setback as much as possible. Given the topography, if that's the best they can do, then it's a holding tank, so it should not be. Should not be leaking in any way. It was just pumped this year by Ford Septic Services, August 12th. So I have no other comments. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Members of the board, any comments, questions? Tom Lee?
When you mention you don't have the pressure from the well, are you saying that you don't have the water in the well itself to pump?
No, there is water in the well, and so we get water into the house. What we were told by the company, it's Advanced Water Filtration, that installed the filtration system, that in order, again, I'm not an engineer, but the filtration system is supposed to adjust the pH and address the lead and manganese. And in order to do that, there's media in the tank, and there has to be a certain amount of pressure from the well. And apparently that a certain number of gallons per minute that goes into the filtration system, and we're not getting that.
But if that's the case, would that be a pump problem?
I'm told we need a new well. That's what Desmond Well told us. The well is fairly old. I mean, it may be a combination of the well and the pump.
No, but I'm the engineer. I deal with this stuff many times,
Right.
a lot of times. So if you have water in the well, the problem to me would be the pump. You replace the pump with higher head, then would overcome that head loss for your filtration system.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that. I mean, I asked that question, and they said it's necessary to have a new well. Part of the problem, I think, is it's an old steel well, and so they said maybe at the bottom of the well there's particles or I don't know the technical term, but there's material well, it could be rust or other things from the well, and apparently the new wells are made of PVC pipe or something else. So they said it's the pressure, but it's also the age of the well, and that's why they were recommending upgrade.
Yeah, right now we all use PVC casing for the wells, so there's no corrosions from that pipe to affect the water quality of the well.
Right.
But I'm just raising the question when you come into, even water,
Sure.
all that stuff. But I don't have a problem because this is a tight tank, not a septic system and leaching field. So I'm comfortable with that 20 feet, setback requirement that we can waive it.
Okay, any other questions?
Tom, are most of those tight tanks in this situation like this monolithic tanks, or?
Depending on what you have it in there, it could
Yeah.
be monolithic depending on the design.
Do you know if yours is?
I
That's
do.
one piece?
I believe it is one piece, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I live on the lake
Right.
myself. It's a shame that they never put town water in here. I mean, there's several tight tanks in the area.
Right.
Or that we weren't in phase one.
Yeah. Well, we got that email this morning.
Well, it's in Centerville, right?
Huh?
It's in Centerville, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's calm water, has nothing to do with the town.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I mean, it's a wonder that hasn't been done.
No, don't blame the town.
Well, I'm not blaming anybody.
Well, you said the town should have put water in there. It's not the town water, it's calm water.
Well, the town could have, Board of Health could have influenced them to do it.
Huge power. I just had a question, nothing to do with this, but I'm just curious, how many bedrooms are in this home?
3.
And how often is the home occupied?
Generally in the summer, so pretty much from Memorial Day to Columbus Day.
And how often are you finding you need to pump at the tight tank?
Well, for obvious reasons, we're very careful, and we minimize the usage in showers. So I would say every couple months, in season.
Great, thank you. Just collecting data for tight tanks use. Thank you for that. Any other members, comments or questions? I would entertain a motion to approve the variance.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda, Janaya De Silva, owner of 105 Captain Carlton Road, Katuitt, map parcel 038-035. He was requesting a 4-bedroom determination versus a 3-bedroom, proposing an accessory dwelling unit, ADU, in the saltwater estuary zone. Good afternoon.
Or if I fall down, call the ambulance.
You can sit. You don't have to stand.
I'm
Either one.
nervous. I want to be respectful, so I will stand. So, good afternoon. My name is Zhenya De Silva. I'm the owner at 105 Captain Carlton Road in Katuitt. Long story short, I'm here today because I recently became a resident of Katuitt. I'm very grateful for that. I always wanted to be a resident of Barnstable. What happened is that I bought a 4-bedroom property. I thought I bought a 4-bedroom property, but it turned out recently that it's a 3-bedroom, and I wanted to come here and request the determination. We closed on the property on June 30th, and if you look at the packet that I prepared, it had a very good potential for an ADU that I wanted to create for potential dwelling unit. And this property already had an existing addition that was built previously in 1987. So it was perfect. So we did a very substantial and deep research on the property when we purchased it, and after we closed, I pulled the permits. I applied for permits with Town of Barnstable, asking asking to allow me start renovation work, addition. So before that, of course, I did all my homework. I read all the ordinance and everything that is necessary, and it turned out that my property would qualify. I did that, and it was approved by Cotuit Fire Department and by actually Health Department. And when it got to a building department, the property lacked like 200 square feet to add the 900 square foot ADU. So, as you know, in order for me to add 900 square foot ADU, my main house should be 1,800, and it was 1,671. So I spoke with the building department, and they offered to add like one more finished room in the basement or something to have 1,800 square feet, and then in that way, they would allow me to do so. So I pulled the second permit for the basement, to finish basement. And this is where I got a note from the health department that unfortunately, the house turns out to be in a 3-bedroom zone, and it is not possible to do the change, that the house is 3-bedroom. So, and it was months and a half after I started all the work and all of that. So I looked up again all the sales documents and all the property records, and I started talking to the health inspector saying that it's probably a mistake because here is property record documents, here is field card, I have Title 5 documents, I have sales documents, I have purchase and sale agreement. This is a 4-bedroom house. And they told me, no, it's a 3-bedroom house. I said, no, I paid for a 4-bedroom house. So this is why I'm here. I'm sure that you hear about it all the time, but in the end of the day, I'm here not because of my neglect, because I feel like I've done my homework, and I did do the research prior of buying a home. And I reached out to the broker who sold the home. I reached out to the broker who listed the home. I reached out to both lawyers, and it's nobody's fault. It's basically me who paid for the 4th bedroom but didn't get it. So I'm here asking for determination. As from 1987, this house has been shown in property records as 4 bedrooms. Under property parcel information, it is shown as 4-bedroom house. Title 5, recent Title 5 that was done on the property, it was October 2022. It is showing 4 bedrooms. I actually had to call the inspector, asking him what made him do this determination, because I'm kind of in trouble right now. And he told me that he did his research before giving Title 5 to seller's agent. And he said that he found a permit, actually, from 1987 showing 4 bedrooms, and I included it in the packet. So it's here. Date of compliance 3/5/87, number of bedrooms 4. And he said that he believes that since that date, the property has been shown as 4-bedroom in the property records, and this is how it all happened. Also, yes, when the
Correction,
addition...
that's not a permit. That is not a permit, what you're referring to. I just want to correct you on that. You said it was a permit.
He does agree that it's as built, but he said
yes.
it's still, it does still say it's a compliant date or something?
No, the official document is the permit from DEP. That's the only document that's official. I just want to correct it because you said permit in your testimony. It's not a permit. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just reading what it says. It says date permit issued and date compliant issued, so, sorry. I was just reading that. Okay. So also, with all the research I've done, I want to say that when in 1987 there was that addition done, there was additional work done to the septic as well, where they added additional 1,000-gallon pit. So the system is capable for 4 bedrooms. I do state it in my determination request. Septic upgrade took place in 1987 when additional 1,000 leach pit was added. Current system has total design flow at 660 GPD, 1,000-gallon septic tank, D-box, and 2 1,000-gallon 6-foot leach pits. The described system can totally hold a 4-bedroom flow. I'm not sure what happened in 1987. I do rely on property records, and we all did rely, and my attorneys did rely when I purchased the property. It was a complete surprise for us when it all came up when I started trying to renovate the property, and it does bring hardship to our family as we, big financial one, because we basically overpaid for something that we didn't mean to, and from my side, I want to say that I would have never bought that house if I knew that it would be the case. I'm kindly asking for determination for a base, given all the information that I do have, that I'm providing. I have copies of field card that it does say 4 bedrooms that I took from Town of Barnstable website. There are, when I looked up the parcel details taken from Town of Barnstable website, it also says 4 bedrooms. Title 5 from 2022 says 4 bedrooms. Title 5 from 2000 says actually 5 bedrooms. There was no way from us to find out. It's not my neglect, and it's not my fault that all happened. It just basically no one's fault, no one's mistake, but I end up being the one who's paying for it right now. And I do hope for your consideration.
Great, thank you for that rationale. If this is a public hearing, if there's any members of the public that would like to speak in this matter, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff?
Each Board of Health member has copies of the official permit records from the Building Department and the Health Department in front of you. The disposal works construction permit indicates 3 bedrooms in the 87-87 permit. If you read where it's highlighted, no bedrooms over garage, you'll see that's highlighted on the permit. You'll see that the as-built card record that the applicant alluded to is not a permit, it's an as-built card filled out by the same septic installer that submitted the permit for 3 bedrooms. So John, you know how that goes when an installer fills out an as-built card. It's not a permit. How big is your lot? How many acres do you have? Less than an acre, correct?
0.6.
6-2.
So, yeah, if you were to build a new house today, you wouldn't be allowed to have even 3 bedrooms, right? So we base the number of bedrooms based on the size of the lot and which zone it's in. It's in a nitrogen-sensitive area, is my understanding. just want to get back to the board on that as to which nitrogen-sensitive areas this is in. Tom, did you know which ones it's in?
No, I didn't look.
I need a minute to look that up. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
I do ask the board for the consideration. It's just not fair to us. We do rely on town documents, and I did provide all the documents to you. I did not take these documents from anywhere. All the documents I brought, it's from the town website, from the town records.
Okay, thank you for that. Let us
I
discuss now.
appreciate that.
Thank you so much. If we have any questions, you can stay there, but we'll just,
Yes,
if we have
and
questions, if we
I
have,
also forgot to, sorry to interrupt you, I also forgot to include, if it's something that you would like to look at, these are like some pages from purchase and sale agreement that I have where it does say that I'm buying a 4-bedroom house and the Title 5 should be 4-bedroom. I mean, if you want to look at it, I do not know what else I have to bring and what I have to show. I can give that to you also.
okay, thank you. Members of the board, comments, questions?
Could I ask, who is the owner of the house, the property on the town website is Ocean Blue Properties? Who is Ocean Blue Properties?
This is us, yes.
That's you?
It's me,
So
yes.
Is this gonna be a rental house?
No, I just had to take a commercial mortgage on that because I did not qualify for regular conventional now these days, believe it or not. I just had to do it this way with the bank.
Hey, Tom? Oh, okay. I'm just wondering, I mean, we do see this over and over again. This seems to be a particularly egregious case where this house has functionally been a 4-bedroom, like with septic approvals for 4-bedroom, like all sorts of approvals. I guess it's the fact that there was renovation work being done that finally triggered someone to find the original building permit for, that it's a 3-bedroom? How could it be that someone could be living in, functioning as a 4-bedroom house? Like, it must have been sold at least once or twice in between when it was built and when you bought it.
It's been for years this
Over
way.
and over again, it's been a 4-bedroom. So how is it suddenly a 3-bedroom? I
I know.
guess
So
I'm asking as much for myself in case, like, hey, I want to buy a property. Like, how in the world are people supposed to figure this out? I mean, everything says 4-bedroom, except for that one permit. Original permit, which is like buried under decades of the house functionally being a 4-bedroom, with all sorts of other documents supporting it as a 4-bedroom. So.
The only way I can answer
wow.
that is illegally converting rooms into bedrooms that were supposed to be, if you look at the floor plans, there's supposed to be a playroom over the garage and an office.
Yeah.
No additional bedrooms.
Well, they
So-
issued a permit to put an additional,
Right.
what exists out there right now is a 1,000-gallon tank, a D-box, and 2 1,000-gallon pits with 2 feet of stone around it. Functionally, that's not like,
Right,
it's not
right.
like one was abandoned as a repair.
It's-
It's 2 functioning pits,
Right.
which, I mean, back in the Wild Wild West days, when, Jerry Dunning was just sketching things on the desk there, I mean, it was, 2,000-gallon pits and a 1,000-gallon tank, they'd let us put a 6-bedroom in. Now, I understand, I is equally frustrated because, it's like, I feel so bad for these people because, they answer an ad in a paper or a real estate magazine or something, and it's advertised, it's taxed, it's in, the assessors has it as a 4-bedroom. They've been taxing it as a 4-bedroom.
years.
Everything's functioned as a 4-bedroom until, like Dan said, something triggers a deeper dig into the paperwork, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, no, it's only a 3-bedroom. And then, which is equally frustrating, is you call the realtor who marketed it, the attorney who closed it, and they wash their hands of it like, oh, well, so what? No, they have errors and omission policies for just this type of thing. So don't let them convince you that they have no say in this or no, they can't help you.
Exactly.
Because you can go after their insurance companies if for some reason this doesn't move forward and the board finds that no, you can't have the fourth bedroom, you need to contact an attorney and go after the attorney, the closing attorney and the realtor, because they didn't do the due diligence in marketing and selling and closing on this property. Because I'm sure the bank's attorney is gonna have something to say about this too, because the bank, if you've been to a closing, there's three parties. There's the buyer, the seller, and then the bank. And the bank has their own attorney, and the bank's attorney is working there just for the bank's interest, not for anyone else's. So, the bank allowed this to close and financed you for 4 bedrooms. They're anticipating that their investment is gonna be maintained. So somebody needs to step up in an errors and omissions policy and, compensate you, because, depending on what the board finds. I mean, for me personally, the amount of flow from 2 years ago is equal to the amount of flow today, and is gonna be equal to the amount of flow tomorrow and down the road. Because what triggered this all, and correct me if I'm wrong, was you're applying to have one of the bedrooms as labeled as an ADU?
Yes.
Right, accessory dwelling unit. So it's not like you're expanding the home to 5 bedrooms from 4.
No, I want to keep 4 bedrooms.
Right, so
I
the
have
flow-
4 bedrooms, and I proposed 4 bedrooms.
I understand.
And I wanted to have 3 bedrooms in the main house. Mary Beth at Health Department told me, remove 1 bedroom in the main house and you still can do it. But I cannot have it because I have 2 small kids and 1 elderly mom. And I bought a 4-bedroom house. I cannot go and do it. I paid for it.
Right.
You
No,
know what? And by the way, to add to your comment regarding going after error and omission insurance, I tried that. I spoke to both brokers, and they are saying that they did not do anything wrong.
Well, of course, I'd say I didn't do anything
I
wrong.
cannot do anything. They did not do anything wrong because they have Title V. And Title V, they said, is a state-mandated document.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And
that-
that's
that
it.
doesn't
So
relieve
the only
them.
the only person who is paying for all of this is me.
Don't let them fool you. That doesn't relieve them of their obligation to market properties properly and do their due diligence. That's just cover.
One
But-
thing I just want to mention, that
Go ahead,
a Title V inspection form is only to prove whether the septic system is working, functioning properly or not. It's not a proof of the number of bedrooms.
Now I know, sir.
No, but it's
After
saying
after I
right now
spent so
that
much
the-
money for a property in
what the-
Katuitt, I learned it the hard way.
Hold on a second. What it is saying is that both pits are functioning properly
I
and
understand.
supporting
I
4
understand.
bedrooms.
And all I'm saying is that the purpose of this Title V is saying whether your septic system is working fine or not.
Right.
If it is a fail, then your seller would have a problem of selling the home to you with a failed septic system.
Right. I mean, they turned in the inspector came, the health department inspector came out in 1987 and inspected Vincente Brothers' septic install of a 1,000-gallon pit. And they wrote up an as-built, they accepted the as-built showing the 2 pits, and they accepted the as-built showing number of bedrooms as 4. Now, I understand that, like Tom's saying, well, the application says 3 bedrooms, the as-built says 4 bedrooms. I'm just adding to the pile of misinformation and crap that we have to weed our way through, and I feel so bad for people that, like, this young woman that's, been basically, stuck by the system that doesn't do its due diligence to dig it up.
Can I ask one question about that?
Sure.
So how do you get, approval for that upgraded septic for a 4-bedroom without the town saying, what are you doing? It's a 3-bedroom.
You can always oversize your septic system. We never question that.
So
You can-
it doesn't, but why would somebody do that
Well, the-
unless they wanted a 4th bedroom?
Right, there's-
But that doesn't trigger somebody to say you're putting in a 4-bedroom septic
It-
in a house
ev-
that's.
I mean,
was
Every
built as a
septic
3-bedroom.
system,
At the
every,
top, at the top of this construction, the 1987 permit that was the
Yeah.
tear off on the bottom, right at the top of it, someone hand wrote in 4 in addition.
Yeah.
So they put an addition on in 1987,
Upgraded septic.
added an additional leach pit. They didn't add an additional leach pit because they went from 3 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. They added a leach pit because they went from 3 to 4 bedrooms. It's just
Yeah.
the documentation is not matching,
right.
what's out, which is a very unfortunate situation. And I feel for her, and I feel, I feel for what do we get, these 6, 7 a year? It's just crazy, easy. It's just, it's very frustrating.
Each one's unique.
Yeah,
like
this
I
is
said,
unique.
This one in particular seems particularly egregious.
Well,
I'm inclined.
Which is why I get back to the point of like, okay, you know, and I remember Dr. Guadagnoli's wisdom of like, you know, what's the flow today? What's the flow going to be tomorrow? So it's not an increase in flow. What's the harm? I mean, honestly, if we rule, no, it's a 3-bedroom, they're not going to make her rip one of the pits out of the ground. They're not going to go backwards, and it's just going to stay the way it is yesterday and is the way it's going to be tomorrow. So to me, it's like there's no harm. This is not an increase in flow. This is not someone saying, I want to go to a 4-bedroom home. I want to increase flow, and even though I'm in the saltwater estuary, but I want to be considered a 4-bedroom because, you know, years ago somebody put in an extra large septic system because they never wanted to deal with it because they wanted to put in beautiful landscaping. And Tom will tell you that's happened before. People have put oversized leaching in because they're like, I'm going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on landscaping. I don't ever want to rip it up during my lifetime, so I want to put in an extra big septic system. You can put a big septic system in.
So that's a reason someone
It
might do
doesn't give you extra bedrooms, but you can put a bigger septic system in. But, you know, again, right on the top of the permit, someone hand wrote in for an addition.
it. Right.
Well, you know, and not only, just to vary a little bit here, I can take you today down the street, and I can show you 5 or 6 houses that have been built, additions, maybe 2, a couple of bedrooms, and they somehow got permits today on this size lot. That's happening every day in this town.
The problem has been, they call it an office, they call it a playroom,
Yeah.
and now this is gonna be added to an accessory dwelling unit, correct? You're gonna add another building to the property? So how are you gonna subtract the other bedroom, is my question, without
No,
adding to the
no,
problem?
so, let me show you, one second.
Well, that's what she said, is that
So
they
when
told her
they
you're gonna
had-
have,
like,
one of
if
the
you
bedrooms
see
has to be
here,
eliminated to add the other bedroom, so that
They
it stays
have
4.
an addition above the garage already. So I just wanted to do a legal ADU over there, which is already there. I just wanted to bring it to code.
So no new construction?
No, no
Okay,
new
not
construction.
Not adding, it's
another-
Just the room over the garage?
Correct. It's already there. It was built in 1987.
And if it was applied with the building permit in 1987 as an office, they wouldn't have made them put a 1,000-gallon pit in.
It's already there.
I
How
don't-
would they get a permit to put an office, though?
Just, you can add on to your home without increasing the septic system. You can put on a master library onto your home without,
Considered a bedroom?
as long as it's, 4-foot cased opening and,
We get plans in here all the time that have extra rooms that they say it's a playroom or something, it's considered a bedroom.
if it's got a 4-foot cased opening, and what are the other criteria, Tom? It's got a 4-foot
Yeah.
cased opening.
Or,
No closet?
Now you can have a closet in a room too. There's
just
different,
can't have privacy.
Done all the
yeah,
time.
and you can't create privacy.
This floor plan we have now, the playroom is open and the office is open, am I understanding correct? They're not bedrooms, is my understanding, but,
All right, so what's someone want to do with this? Anyone want to make a motion? Anyone,
Well, yeah, I would make a motion to approve determining it, changing it from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain.
We have 4 approved, Tom, and 1 abstain. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry for you putting in this position.
You
all
did
good?
you did
So
a
what
nice
does
job
it
trying to
mean?
understand all these
I haven't been
problems.
here before,
sorry.
hopefully.
You have a 4-bedroom.
thank you.
Thanks so much.
The next item on the agenda is another Scott Anand, owner of 29 Chicochet Way, Centerville, Mass. 191-009 is requesting a bedroom determination of 4-bedroom versus 3-bedroom only in a saltwater estuary zone. Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, I'm Scott Anand. My wife Laura and I own 29 Chickawacket Way, and we live there, the two of us. And I guess there are a lot of similarities between that last case and ours, but we bought the property 3.5 years ago, and it was represented to us that it was 4 bedrooms. But when I looked into possibly making the 4th bedroom into an accessory dwelling, the first step was to go and see what the house was permitted for. And it's clear on the Title V, when the Title V was done, it says it's 4 bedrooms, but it said it's a 3-bedroom septic. And then in investigating that, when the septic was redone back in 1995, the permit was for a 3-bedroom septic, not 4 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're at the point now that, okay, what do we do now? And I was told the
Title V report.
step was to come here and look into it. You know, it's listed on the tax records as a 4-bedroom, but like I said, in the Title V, it says 4 bedrooms existing, but 3-bedroom permit. You know, our situation was different. It was a private sale, so there was not a realtor that represented the house as being 4 bedrooms. We assumed incorrectly that it was 4 bedrooms. And, you know, we're at the point now, I actually had spoken to Dave Coffenauer, I think that's how you pronounce it, at Ecotech, and had him come out and look at the situation. And it was his feeling that the septic system that we have now is 30 years old, which is kind of at the end of its expected lifespan. So we're thinking that we are going to do a new septic system, and we would do he's talking about designing a 3 concrete chambers, 500-gallon chambers with stone that would meet the ratings needed for 4 bedrooms. And, you know, we're not looking to sell the house, we're planning to stay there. So I'm thinking, you know, we want to spend the money and do the new system. So I'm not even sure what I'm looking for at this point. I guess I'm just want to make sure that there's no reason that the Board of Health would have a problem with me doing the new system, and then would the house in fact be rated for the 4 bedrooms then? So I don't know if that's just something that's a given, or do I need permission to have the new 4-bedroom system put in there with the 3 chambers, or?
Well, what's going to happen is if the installer goes to pull the permit to upgrade the septic system, they're going to research and pull up what was the property originally. And they'll let you, as of right, repair what's there existing. So if what's on file is a 3-bedroom, and when I say file, obviously, you know, as we've discussed ad nauseum, you know, different departments in the town have
Right.
different definitions of bedrooms. You can clearly see the assessors has it as a 4-bedroom, and the permits that were pulled originally all say 3-bedroom. So
Right,
you
and
know,
the
they're
original
gonna-
house when it's built, it doesn't even say
it doesn't even say
number
which
of bedrooms
which
at
goes
all.
back to my, you know, statement. You know, I've been in this town for over, you know, 35 years, and I can tell you, being in the construction business many years ago, it was the wild west. It was,
Right.
permits were, you know, you could go in the morning and walk out with a, you know, permit to build a 6-bedroom home with a septic system, you know, 2 hours later. It was just, there was not a lot of worry about paperwork and filling this in and filling that in
Right.
properly. We run into it constantly now, because all of these systems that went in are now coming back as either failed or transfer of property or, you know, whatever, and the homeowners understand and have been paying taxes on a certain amount of bedroom count, and then they find out that the original permit was for a 3-bedroom home. I mean, it's
Right.
just,
This
You
one,
know.
clearly, everything says 3 bedrooms.
right.
Except the
I mean,
assessing.
one of the biggest tragedies was decades ago, they used to build unfinished second-floor ranches, or capes, rather. So you could buy a cape that had a 3-bedroom septic system, because that's what the town, and I'm talking all sorts of towns I've seen them built in, where the builder would go in and build an unfinished second floor. They'd leave electric stubs and plumbing stubs up there, but it would be unfinished. And so the homeowner, they'd move in, they'd start living there, start making a little more money, and then they'd DIY 2 extra bedrooms upstairs, and then they'd live in the home for 30 years, 20 years, and then they'd say, oh, I've had a 4-bedroom forever. Well,
Right.
not legally, it's
Yeah.
a 3-bedroom. You just added 2 extra bedrooms up there, and nobody pulled a permit, nobody did anything. They just framed it off, sheetrocked it, insulated, and called
Right.
it 2 more bedrooms. So it's
Right,
been,
and
it's
you
been
know,
a
I
continuing problem, trust me, we understand.
Yeah, and I talked to the building department, and they said, yeah, well, you can, come in and pull a permit for that 4th bedroom, but you first have to make sure that the Board of Health, says that you have a legal septic that will support the 4 bedrooms.
So you're,
So I'm willing to do, if I need to,
well,
do-
that's my next question to you is going to be is that the board in the past has been, more looking for a, nitrogen reduction type of system to get that additional bedroom for an expansion. So you're telling me that your plans is to expand the property. You want to add an ADU to the property?
No, it's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be changing anything.
But
I would just get-
you're under the understanding that the septic's 30 years old and that you're going to spend some money and redo the system.
Right.
So,
It's just the 2 of us, and the septic, we're not having issues or anything.
right. So
But
you
it's
want,
just if
you want
it's
the
30
septic,
years old,
you want the septic design to be 4 bedrooms.
right.
And I'm just saying to you that because of the conflict in the paperwork and, permits and everything else, there's, and, and again, it's similar to the last situation, but it's unique and different in the sense that it was, like you said, it wasn't marketed as a real estate transaction with 4 bedrooms and
Right.
septic
The
inspection and everything else.
realtor, actually, a realtor set the deal up, and he got a finder's fee, but no place did he put his name on it, and there
course.
wasn't like a listing agreement that said
Right.
that it was legally 4 bedrooms, and we saw the tax records, we saw what was there, and it's 4 bedrooms, but again, we
think
should
for-
have got
would-
it on the Title V, because it
Right.
says on the Title V, 4 bedrooms, but it says permit 3 bedrooms, and
Yeah.
we didn't pick up on that.
The system is also too small for 4 bedrooms.
Right.
All
And that's the,
all of
you
our
know,
paperwork says 3 bedrooms in the
right,
health
the
department.
system as it exists right now is only sized for a 3-bedroom. The
Right.
previous property that was just in here had a system in the ground that's sized for a 4-bedroom.
Right, which
So
is what I
it
want
was-
to do, but I
right.
just don't
So what I'm
know.
saying is that in the past, and I don't speak for the whole board, I'm just one vote, but the board has been more willing to give you that 4th bedroom determination if you'll put in, you're gonna upgrade the leaching system anyways, for a little bit, more money, put in an alternative technologies to reduce the nitrogen, because you are in this, the saltwater estuary protection zone, which, they've designated as an area of concern. So I understand the flow is probably the same today and it's tomorrow and the next day if you live in there, but you're undersized right now with the septic you have. For a-
With the 3 sections that
right,
are
with
there
the-
now,
with
it's
the
undersized,
with the
so,
three-
so
for a
I'm saying I
4
want to
bedroom.
do more, I
So,
want,
so if you removed a bedroom, turned it into an office study, made it a cased opening, removed the privacy determination on it, and made a 3-bedroom, then you could come in and apply for a brand-new 3-bedroom septic system and put a 3-bedroom septic system in. But what I'm saying is that, for me personally, one vote, I would be looking for your willingness to put in a denitrification system. As you upgrade your system, that'll bring you up to all 4-bedroom, everything, this would match 4-bedroom from here going on.
so I'm not understanding, so is what this, Dave Coffenauer was saying, that doing the 3 500-gallon concrete,
That's a leaching facility, that's just expanding the size of the leaching
yeah,
to take
is
care of
that
a
not what you're
standard.
saying you want, or,
That's for a standard 4-bedroom. So if you had no controversy here,
Yeah.
and you had a 4-bedroom, that would cover a 4-bedroom. But you have an existing 3-bedroom system. You have paperwork that's, like I said, mishmash. Some saying 4. All of the permits that the town has say 3-bedroom. There's nothing
Right.
written on it that says for an addition or anything else like that. So chances are, before you ever had ownership of the property, somebody put in a bedroom illegally over there and made it a 4-bedroom without upgrading the septic, without adding on, without doing anything else. So you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I understand, but I'd be more willing to allow you to make the change to a 4-bedroom if you'll agree to put in a denitrification system, because then that way the impact would be less.
So that's a different system than what he's saying.
The leaching could be the same, but it's different. It would be a denitrification system.
Okay, I don't know what that means, yeah, but.
It's a type of system where it goes through like a treatment facility before it goes into the leaching facility, where it's air bubbled and the nitrogen is removed
Yeah.
before it goes into the ground. Because you're in the saltwater or the estuary protection zone.
So I thought the saltwater estuary zone was the less environmentally damaged or something, septic. No,
Although
that's more sensitive.
That's an area that's, the town has.
It's more
said
sensitive,
Is
yeah.
more sensitive, and that adding bedrooms, expanding without sewer or denitrification is
Yeah.
not in there.
Can I ask a
Sure, go ahead, Dan.
I'm just looking at the location of the house. How long till sewer gets there? That's pretty close to, really close to 28. I mean, it's right off Old Stage there. It's.
My understanding, I have to look it up.
Seems like that, I
It's
mean, aren't we gonna,
They're not bringing sewer up Old Stage from the maps I looked at.
not at all?
Some area they're not sewer.
I can look it up on assessors
Okay.
here.
Can I ask you, is the fourth bedroom in the cellar?
It is.
Is there a bathroom in the cellar?
There is, yeah.
There is, so
And it
that's,
was always there because it's got the
want to make that
concrete
like
floor and,
an apartment you can rent.
I'm sorry?
You're gonna make it like an ADU.
That's what I would like to do, yeah. And I mean, it was, in the back, the lot slopes off, and in the back, it's above ground. There are two separate entrances, and there's like a kitchenette area, there's the bathroom. Again, it's always been there. It has the drains on the concrete floor
sewer
that
plans.
go out to the septic. It's all,
When did you buy it?
Planned
we
either.
bought it like 3.5 years ago.
So it was probably been used for years as an additional unit.
I'm sorry?
Not
Probably
even a
been
quarter mile
used
off the 28.
as an additional dwelling unit
Probably not
for
an area
years.
of critical concern.
No, I mean, it's just my wife and I that live there.
No, no,
Flow
I
is
don't mean
less in
you,
that
I
area
mean
'cause of less
before you.
homes.
Yeah, I guess it was actually vacant for, I think, 2 years or something before we owned it, so I don't really know what they did, but, but I'm almost thinking, but is this not the similar situation where the flow's not gonna be changed? It's
But
like
you're, here, let me clarify the determination. That previous property had an existing leaching facility in the ground that supported a fourth
Okay,
bedroom.
okay.
Your house only supports a 3-bedroom.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if nothing else happens, you still need to remove a bedroom.
Yeah,
So if nothing gets determined here, if you say, never mind, forget it, I withdraw, you still have to get rid of a bedroom
okay,
somewhere.
I got you.
So what I'm saying is that if you want that fourth bedroom to stay there, you need to upgrade your septic system to 4-bedroom.
Okay.
You're not gonna get a permit to upgrade your bedroom to facility to 4 bedrooms because it's an existing 3-bedroom system as far as the town is concerned, the
Okay.
health department is concerned.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you that in the past, the board has looked favorably on making that additional bedroom determination if someone's willing to lower their impact by putting a denitrification system in.
So it's called a denitrification.
If you call IA system, your septic designer would know.
So
Alternative.
Dave Coffiner will know exactly
Right.
what
Right.
I'm
So
talking about.
we don't have to make a determination today. If you want to go talk to Dave and your engineer and say, look, the board, the feeling I was getting is I'm not going to get my 4th bedroom just as a determination without upgrading my septic to a denitrification system and the leaching supporting a 4-bedroom.
Yeah,
And then if you still need variances, then he can present it to us in plan form and official. And then when you're done, the new system's in, then you can get it
so you're
as an
saying,
ADU.
wait, don't make a determination today, just wait and then.
Yeah, I would, because, the determinations I'm gonna tell you from my personal vote is I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna give you 4 bedrooms without a denitrification system.
Yeah.
So you might as well go see what you're getting yourself into, cost, engineering, everything else.
Yeah.
And then come back to us and ask for permission to put a denitrification system in.
Okay.
And clean up my number of bedroom count to 4-bedroom.
Okay,
And then going forward, the property, if 2 years from now you decide to sell, the property's covered, it's 4 bedrooms, no one will dispute it, and you've got a denitrification system in.
Okay, okay. I mean, I guess I understand that, so,
We need more housing on the Cape anyway, so an ADU seems like it could be a good thing, so long as the
yeah, I mean, it's
impact
just
is
sitting there. We
minimized.
don't use it. It's just the two of us. It's a waste, you know, so,
So it's a financial question.
Yeah, I
so,
mean, you may look at it and decide, you know what, it's just the two of us living in there, we only need, well, let's take one of the bedrooms and knock the wall down and make it into
Yeah.
1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Now you've got an ADU that's legal, you've got a legal 3-bedroom
so
septic
I
system,
mean,
and
I'd
your
like
3
to
bedrooms.
redo the septic anyway, like I said, if it's 30 years old.
If you're spending it to upgrade the leaching, you might as well go the extra step, put a denitrification in.
Yeah,
It'll cost you, but it'll be, you know, over the long-term benefit of the property and having an ADU generating income, I think it'll be
Right.
worth your, well,
and the
worthwhile.
only thing I thought would be bad if I spent the money to do the system would be if the sewers came in and I had to tie in, but in talking to
We
the
just looked it up and,
communications
yeah.
director, it seems like for Chilcowacket Way, it's not
Not planned.
gonna
No.
happen, so I
No.
wouldn't have to worry about that.
because, you know, most people look at a pond and then they say, well, I live here and everything flows to the pond. Not necessarily. If they've determined that the groundwater actually flows away from the pond, your property is not considered a contributing property to the problem.
Yeah,
They want to focus the attention and the money on sewering the homes that are flowing into that pond.
okay.
So sometimes, because you
get
just,
a low interest loan. You can get a low interest loan to do that.
yeah, and you can, there are
Low-interest loan,
low
yeah.
interest loans, you know, that you can apply for. And if you reach out to Barnstable Clean Water Coalition, they're looking to put a lot of these new type of systems in, because they're still working under a provisional permit, because they need 50 of these units in the ground and tested for 3 years before DEP will give it a general permitting. Just something to consider. I'm sure I'm overwhelming you with information, but
But the
Ask
your
Dave.
septic guy would be familiar with all this.
your designer.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll talk to Dave. I know he's in Nepal, hiking in Nepal, but he's gonna be back.
Come
so-
back refreshed and renewed and open to all sorts of new things.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
All
so
right.
my suggestion would be is, what's the board's feeling? You want to continue it for 30 days, or should we withdraw without prejudice, or?
okay.
I would say withdraw at this time.
I'm sorry, my hearing is terrible. I even have my hearing
We're
aids
saying
in.
maybe it makes sense to just withdraw it for now
Withdraw
while you
without
do some more
prejudice,
research
give you
and-
more time to kind of investigate how much cost are you dealing with and make up your mind. If we postpone 30 days, you may not have enough time.
Right,
Okay, I see what you're saying.
so you just request a withdrawal, and we'll grant your withdrawal, and then it's like as if we
Okay.
never met today, but you've now have a whole lot more information to go
All right.
forward with.
So
And
if
like I said,
so
you
if
may
I
sit-
have him come next time and show the plan, the
He has
actual
a plan, right,
plan that
and
he
if you
wants to
decide to
do.
not, like I said, you may decide the cost is not worth it, so you're
Oh.
just gonna knock a wall down between 2 bedrooms, turn 2 into 1, and stay at a 3-bedroom, and move forward with an
Okay.
ADU and a an ADU in addition to a 2-bedroom home. And now you're under the 3-bedroom, you're at 3 bedrooms, which is what you're permitted for originally,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
So I
am-
would entertain a motion to withdraw without prejudice.
Second.
I have a motion, and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a food temporary event. Jason Cisco is requesting a temporary food permit for Katuitt Oyster Festival at Kings Grant, the Courtyard Cafe, 12 Old Kings Grant Road, Katuitt, map parcel 022-106, for September 30th, 2023, from 1 to 6 p.m. The vendors are Jason Cisco, Katuitt Oyster Company, with the following menu: clam chowder, shrimp cocktail, stuffed quahogs, hot dogs, hamburgers, Italian sausage, and oyster shucked on site. Good afternoon.
Hi there. Yeah, thank you. I believe what we're looking for is just permission to shuck oysters outside under the tent. We already have a licensed kitchen on site for the other items. We've got a 2,000 square foot tent rented. We've got supplemental bathrooms from Pina Sanitation. We've got, I think, 4 hand washing stations. We've already been through licensing. And then last minute, they thought that we should come and just clear the shucking outside.
Okay.
Chris is from Katuitt Oyster. He's got a refrigerated truck, a limitless ice, and obviously he's HACCP certified and serve safe as well as I am.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Staff?
Staff has no objections. You recall this property was before the board because of a number of seats and septic system question, but they're going to bring in porta potties. I understand you're going to bring in 5 porta
Actually,
potties?
I checked today, we've got 7.
7, maybe more than, that's probably
including
more than
2
what's needed.
handicap accessible.
And you have serve-safe certifications and everything, yeah. We have no objections,
It's just a one-day
just a one-day.
Just a one
event.
day.
Yep. Any members of the board, comments or questions? I would entertain motion to approve. I have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you
thanks,
so much for your
everybody.
time. Sorry to make you wait the whole meeting.
It's okay. Yeah, take care.
Thank you. Good luck with the event. And that. Yeah, get it. Nothing like making people jump through the hoops last minute. No other items on the agenda. And the minutes would be Sharon, and Sharon's out, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. You are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.